Hey there, everybody. Coins here again, bringing you our second how-to video. In this video, we're going to be going through an overview of each of the component folders, and then we're actually going to walk you through how to assemble your first tabletop map. Well, sorry, not your map, but your tabletop workspace, so you can build your first map. So, let's just get started. Open up your inventory first. So either press Control I or again. Let me move my video thing out of the way. You can also click on the suitcase down here towards the bottom right of your window. Before I go any further, I would highly recommend, if you haven't started using it already, download um, Phoenix Firestorm. It is a phenomenal Second Life viewer for being able to build in Second Life because it has a number of tools that have been added in as compared to the standard Second Life viewer. So, as I said, make sure you go online, download it. It's free. You will thank me for it in the future. Okay? That's the end of that spiel. Let's get started. So, open up your inventory. Okay. And So in the last video, I kind of went over a little bit about the game pieces folder because I wanted to see how many pieces, are going to be available for you to be able to start with. Um, so I guess with the game piece folder in the future, as we release, additional free pieces, we aren't going to be releasing all game pieces for free. Just FYI. As I mentioned in the last video, there will be some that are going to be for premium fees. So again, there won't be more than 10 to 50 L, depending on the piece. Uh, Unless we do a group package where it will be all the pieces prices combined, but at like a 10 or 20% discount or something like that for doing like a box kit kind of thing. But that's beside the point. We're still planning all that stuff out, so take that with a grain of salt, more or less. So, as I said, though, I think you have about 58 pieces that you're going to be able to work with in this kit as you start your games. Okay. Now, as you get additional pieces, some of them might be for monster classes or monster types that aren't in here. So like for as an example, let's see. Which ones? What types do I not have in here? Let me grab my monster manual. One second. Okay, just open up my thing here. Monstrosity, humanoids. Oh, aberrations. Here we go. So, as an example, I just found a random one from in here. A grell is a aberration. So there might be times where you need to create a new folder for a certain monster type. So if you have like a grell or another abomination, aberration. See if we can find another example. Oh, here we go. A gibbering mouther is another example of an aberration. So you can go ahead and if you were to get that model, whenever it is to release it, we haven't developed that one yet. I'm just using it as an example. But what you would want to do is, if you receive a monster type that is not listed in the starter DM kit folders, you'll want to create a new one for that particular monster type. So an aberration, it's very easy. All you gotta do is right click, new folder, and then type in aberration. Um, so make sure you do remember that for in the future. Okay. Um, I created a whole bunch that are for a number of several different monster types. So this should cover like probably half of the monster types, maybe more out there. But there will obviously be a few that you will have to eventually add in. Okay. So, anyways, monster manual away. Let's get back into the overview. Okay. So, as I said, we've created a whole bunch of free models that you guys are going to be able to use for your, game pieces, not models, because they're actually functioning for your games, right? So you got like anywhere from crocodile to wolf in your beasts folder. You got a bunch of celestials that you can work with. We and before I go any further, I just want to point out we selected, or I selected, whatever, all these game pieces for the main reason of they're the usual ones that you will see in any typical RPG, like fantasy RPG, whatever, right? Like you got your, well, as an example, you got your deer, you got dogs, wolves show up a lot. Same with giant spiders, Pegasus and unicorns, red dragons, animated armors, gargoyles. You can't have a game without a gargoyle. That's just my opinion, though. You got Hellhound and a Succubus. You got your standard ogre. A whole bunch of humanoids. You got anything from like an archmage, all the way up to like your standard. Did I put it in range? No, I did. Up to like scouts. Oh, that's what I was thinking of. Scout and ranger. You also got like some a kobold in there. You got goblin. You got an orc, werewolf. You got a whole bunch of male commoners like townsfolk. Got a couple of female commoners. You got pirate or female and male pirates. Got a pirate captain. There's some male. Oh yeah, male pirates right there. You got an assassin, a bandit, fanatic. You got a cultist. Yeah, mage. You got tons in the humanoid section, so you'll have tons to work with in there. You even got a gold dragon. For the dragons, I've done one chromatic and one metallic dragon for each folder, and I also included the wormling version of that. So you can set up like let's say for example you've got like a red dragon lair, and there's a bunch of dragon eggs all around, and all of a sudden a whole bunch hatch. So you've got the red dragon to deal with, and you got a bunch of wormlings to deal with. It's very dynamic. It'll help you guys out quite a bit. Um, then you got your monstrosities. So you got a standard centaur, griffin, minotaur. Also threw in a kraken there for if you do a like an underwater adventure. Like if you're playing in the Dragonlance universe, doing an adventure with the the Darganesti, the underwater elves, basically. Um, then you got a couple of plants, so you got a Trent or Ent, whichever you want to call it. You got a Twig Blight. You got a bunch of undead, so ghost, ghoul, skeleton, vampire, wraith, zombie. Like I said, you have tons of options to be able to deal with, or sort of work with rather, and it's gonna let you guys really flesh out your worlds. Yes, we haven't given you guys everything, but we've given you a lot to work with. So and you know what? In a lot of ways, a lot of these pieces are very, actually all of them are very customizable. So you can substitute them for other pieces as well if you like really need to. Um, but sometimes it doesn't work, right? Like, let's say for example you put a goblin down and you rename it, I don't know, like say green dragon, right? It works, but at the same time it doesn't work. You know what I mean? It's both parts functional and visual. So just kind of keep that in mind as you're planning out your games. Okay. Um, so, anyways, that's the spiel for the game piece folder. So I'm just going to minimize that one. Next, we'll go into the map construction folder. Um, this is the one that will allow you to create like the outlines and the basic structure of your map. So, for example, you got a couple of options for doors. You got a bunch of geological pieces. So, like these are things like hills. We got lava spire in there, or spires rather. Those columns that you see in like caves and stuff like that underground, where it's lava dripping down from the ceiling, that kind of thing. You got really nice mesh water piece that we used really well in our the free port map or instance map that we've made for the system. You'll find that in the map table assembly folder under I think it's port map. We'll get that in it. I'll point that out to you once we get down to it in a minute. So anyways, you got like a nice, really nice mountain one, and a couple of sculpt water pieces that can actually be used for land pieces as well. Um, when I get to one of the construction videos, I'll show you how that works exactly. But I won't get into that now. Okay. But anyways, that's it for the. Oh wait, there's some more stuff in the construction folder. Getting ahead of myself. This is the script folder. So you've got a couple of items in here that will allow you to do a couple of very cosmetic things to some of the pieces. A few of these are important, such as for the mesh water piece. If you copy and drag it, it will create a new piece that is not animated properly. So you have to basically take the water texture animation and drag it onto it, and it'll set itself automatically to it. Again, I'll get to that in a different video, but I just wanted to point that out to you as part of the overview, okay? Then you got your path folder, a whole bunch of different choices for being able to lay down a path on your map. Tons of plants. You got mushrooms, bush, a couple of dead trees, a nice desert tree, a couple oak trees, a couple pine trees, even a piece of red coral again for underwater maps. Or if you're like building a super like really well detailed river, or like what's it called, like a port map or something like that. You can throw those in there too. You got ship set pieces. Again, these are showed really well in our port map that we released as part of the instance map folders. If you wish to, you can use all these in any other of your maps. They're scaled down as small as that we could get them. We they're very small. Oh, actually, no, sorry, not all of them are very small. Some of them they're all scaled to be, I guess you would say believable or like realistic in terms as to like the scale of the tabletop map space. So you can also make them larger, but again, I'll get to that. It's that's more of a construction thing, so we'll get to that in another video. I'm just pointing that out to you now, kind of thing. But you got tons of choices in here for really adding detail to your map. Moving on, we got your stairs folder. You got a whole bunch of choices in here. Traps folder. We got a number of traps. All these traps have been scripted to a certain degree to perform certain functions. Usually what you have to do is you have to left click on them to be able to activate them. So if you place them on a map, make sure you kind of make a note of it somewhere so that if a player character travels over it, they trip the trap, you know when you need to make that roll, kind of thing, right? So make sure you remember that in the future. Moving on, you got your walls folder. So you got tons of choices in here. You got a cave wall, you got cliff walls. These also work for caves as well, the cliff walls, just as an FYI. You got a curved wall, a generic straight, like just straight wall. It's nothing fancy there. I want to point this out. The ruined walls set is a number of there's actually, hang on, let's see how many there are in there because I actually can't remember too well. So 15 big hunt months to sign up. Don't worry about that. It's for an event that Winches Industries is helping with to celebrate Second Life's 15th birthday event. But that's neither here nor there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 different ruined wall pieces. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of variations to the walls. So the reason why I include these individually is because there's so many of them that I wanted to make it easy on you, so that you can kind of just pick and choose which walls you kind of place, and you don't have to like be like, okay, do I want to use this one? Drag it out of your inventory. No, I don't really want to use it. So you do the next one. It just saves you time by resing all of them at the same time. They're all very low prim. Each one's about 3 prim, so in total there's only 26 land impact. So it's not really that big of a deal. So just res them all out and then just drag and copy. Again, that's for a construction video, but you can just drag them out and do whatever with them. Okay. So, anyways, then you've got a nice mesh wall window piece. It's basically like I'm actually not going to res that, but it's basically just like it's sized to be about roughly the same size as the generic wall piece. But it's just got like a nice little window built into it. So it's all one piece, and you can stretch it, do whatever with it once you place it, kind of thing. Okay. And then you also got a nice wood fence piece. Again, it's just like a wall piece, but fence. Okay. Now, this next folder is for world map construction. So you've got a castle map, a castle model, a castle town model, a fortified castle town model, and just a regular old town model. These are mostly just for like landmarks on a map, or rather a world map. So, for example, the North Sword Coast map that's going to be getting world map rather that's going to be released with the Lost Mines of Phandelver module for free. By the way, once we finish doing some of the development, we originally planned to release that with the main release of the DM starter kit, but unfortunately we don't have enough of the models created, or actually we have another 11 that we need to finish at this time, mind you. So we haven't been able to release that yet. We will work towards getting that done. It's just going to take us a little bit of time to come up with the models. But anyways, that's I'm getting a little off topic here. So yeah, that's it for the map construction folder. Moving on, we got the map declaration piece folder. Now, this is where you really put in a lot of your details on your map. You got a whole bunch of different choices. We've done a really good job of populating this particular subfolder for the kit. You've got tons and tons of choices. Got tons of animal related pieces. So bird cages, skeletons of animals such as plesiosaur or whales. You got arcane lab stuff. You've got a bunch of bathroom stuff, beds galore, tons of benches, or actually just a couple of benches. Got building fireplaces, so like these are for fireplaces inside of a building. You got cabinets. You got a whole bunch of cargo items, so like pots. You got barrels, crates, a whole bunch of different choices for there. Got cemetery pieces, so coffins and gravestones. You got chairs, fireplaces, fountains, jail cells, kitchen fireplaces, landscaping. This wasn't included in the map construction folder because these are more like detailed stuff. So like boulders, you got brick rubble, logs, rocks, rock clusters. Oops, I for some reason just added that to my thing. I'm just gonna leave that as is for now. He's not technically naked, so whatever. Anyways, then you got lanterns, you got marketplace pieces, so carriages, carts, scales, wells, a wooden wheelbarrow. You got misc pieces here. You got musical instruments, religious pieces, schoolhouse pieces. Whoops, did it again. You got shelving, ship furnishings. This is more for if you want to create like like a ship interior, kind of like outline or map outline rather. Just as an FYI. Then you got smithy stuff. You know, you got like an arrow target and a whole bunch of other things. You got or tables galore actually. Uh, got some textile stuff and a couple of treasure pieces as well. Okay. So, like I said, you got tons of items that you're going to be able to use to really detail your map. So just have fun with it. You know, there's really like the sky's the limit basically. So I think you guys will have a lot of fun with the map decoration pieces. Um, we're gonna leave table assembly folder to last because that'll help to lead us into the next part of this video. So skipping that, we're gonna go into our textures folder. This is for, or sorry, rather, these textures are for being able to texture your wall outlines and stuff like that on your maps. So like if you put down a whole bunch of generic wall pieces, you'll be able to texture them so that they look like what they're supposed to be. Like say for example, a castle wall or like a tavern wall, a dungeon wall, whatever, right? Um, and it's also for like the floor pieces as well. So you've got tons to work with in here too. I made sure that you guys literally have tons of options and hopefully should not be wanting for too much. Um, so to start, you got your some barn stuff. You got some castle stuff, or actually tons of castle stuff. Cave textures. Pardon me. Got dungeon pieces, or sorry, dungeon textures, fort textures, log cabin stuff, tons of nature pieces. So like if you're doing like a forest or something like that, you can put down like a bunch of grass. Like there's tons of grass choices for textures. You got like grassy plains. You know, for example, if you're like building a castle on a hill, this will grassy plains will be a good choice for having some detail on your map, but not, you know, not where it's actually needed for detail kind of thing. You know, like say for example, if you just want to have your castle and have some stuff that shows on the outside, but not have like a piece put on for details outside of the castle. You just want your details in your castle. The grassy plains will be good for that. You got some lava stuff, so if like you're doing a volcano thing or something like that, that'll be good, useful for that. And then you also got a snow texture. Moving on, you got some stuff where like if you're building a town, you got some cobblestone and dirt road textures. These will be good for like if you like say for example you use like a grass texture as like the ground or to texture the ground, and you want the to have like a road or something like that on your map, you can lay down one of the path pieces and then apply one of these to that, and it'll make it look a little bit different and make it stand out a bit more from the ground. Moving on, you got your sewer texture stuff, you got your stone stuff. Um, this is a really good one, by the way, for if you're doing like an evil map or something, or like a dark forces style kind of map or something like that. It's good for like doing a dark roadway or something like that. I actually used that for one of the instance maps that we released for the system. Moving on, you got your water stuff. So these are good for if you've got a bunch of like geo pieces put down to make like a lake or something like that, and you want to make it look like water. Just have to, you know, texture it using one of these. I will explain how to texture some stuff in another video, so I'm not going to get into that right now. Okay. And then lastly, we've got a wood buildings texture folder. Tons of choices in here as well. So this stuff will, you know, make it really good. You know, it'll really make your maps pop once you get down and started using them. Okay. So close to textures folder. Last one before we get into the table assembly is town and city buildings folder. So as you'll notice from a number of our instance maps, we have a number of miniature buildings that we've created and adapted for our tabletop system from various sources. And as a result, you have a number of different buildings that you can use to create for, like, you know, either doing like a camp in the wilderness, so you can use the camp stuff, the camp tents, Or if you're building like a small town, you've got tons of choices in the town buildings folder. Or if you're building a city, you can use any number of these items. So, you've got tons to work with to really flesh out your maps if you're doing more of like a town map. Or you're doing like an instance map that's more like an alleyway kind of thing of a certain building, or sorry, a certain town map or something like that. So you've got tons of options to choose from. So looking at some of them, you got a single tent in there. You also have a couple of castle. We have a couple of really nice castle wall building pieces that will allow you to like really give like your either like a fortified town or a castle. Like you can actually build like a full interior castle if you choose to, using this if you have used the right tabletop size, which I will explain in a minute. Um, but yeah, so you got castle type 1, castle type 2, type 3, and type 4. Uh, and yeah, so you'll want to experiment if you're building like a castle wall or something like that with the different styles to be able to figure out what's the right style for yours. Okay. I'm not gonna obviously res any of these right now because that's not what this video is for. It's more for giving you an overview of everything. But just wanted to point that out to you though. Okay. So you got a couple of cemetery pieces. You've got a couple of entertainment buildings. So you got like an amphitheater and a coliseum. You got a couple of fortification options. You got like an actual castle. This is more of like a miniature castle, so it's not super detailed for maps. I might as well just show you anyways for this particular piece. This is more for like if you're doing like a super large map, like for example, Neverwinter, and you need to like show a certain building as like a small like landmark, not like an actual detail part. So that's what that's mostly for. And then you also got like a tower and a watchtower, actually two watchtowers, wood fort as well. Again, that's good for like if you're doing like a really large detailed map kind of thing. So just keep that in mind. If you're building a smaller like town or city map and you want to have a castle in there, it might be better to use like one of these like the castle wall buildings, or sorry, castle, yeah, wall building pieces to be able to do that. So just as an FYI, okay. So, anyways, moving on. You got a couple of market stalls. These range in various types. You've got like an armor piece, or sorry, a arms seller one in there. I know there's a fish market one. Um, there's also a textile one and a couple other ones as well. You got some misc buildings. So you got like a barn, a crane, gallows, lighthouse, pavilion, shack, windmill. You got a bunch of ruins, tons to choose from in there. Uh, you got service buildings, so you got like a bank, a courthouse, schoolhouse, shipyard, stable, tavern. Um, you got shops, a bunch of different designs for those. These are the town buildings that I mentioned earlier. These are mostly like houses and stuff like that. You even have some stuff for building like a tropical map if that's what you're more going for. So you got like a shipwreck house, a couple of tropical huts, and a bunch of tropical shacks. Tons to choose from in there. So yeah, that's the main overview for the kit. Um, like I said, experiment. Whoops, I don't know why I brought that up. Experiment with all the parts. Like really explore it and see what you can do. I guarantee you, the sky is literally the limit with what we've put together for you guys. Okay, it's close to about 1,000 pieces that you can use. So it should be a lot of fun for you. Okay. Now, the last folder, as I said, we skipped over this earlier because I wanted to save it for the end, is the table assembly folder. Um, there's a little bit of extra setup you might want to do in here, and that's basically to create a separate folder for all of your instance maps. Uh, So for that, all you have to do is right click and then do type in. I'm just going to say instance maps. You can call it whatever you want. Really, it doesn't really matter too much. Just make sure that it stands out from the actual assembly folders. Okay, and I'll show you what I mean in a moment. Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go through here and move all these. Oh, yeah, move all these into that folder I just created. I don't need seating selected, tavern in that one. Yep. Okay, and then you just put it into the instance maps, and it's ready to go. Um, so sorry about that. Facebook was distracting me there for a second. Yeah, so in this folder, you'll have a whole bunch of stuff that will allow you to both assemble your tabletop as well as be able to decorate it with a number of items for. Oh, actually, crap, I'm gonna have to add that into there. Okay, there will be another folder in here, or another item on the bottom, like the assembly stuff, with a bunch of like decoration pieces. So like candles. I think there's a rug in there and stuff like that. I don't have it in here for. I don't know why it's not included. I will fix that for release. I promise. Um, but yeah, there's tons of stuff in here to be able to choose from to be able to assemble your map and then also be able to decorate it. Just as an overview, we've got your table assembly stuff. So you got your alignment grid, your fog of war, your large, medium, and small. I'll highlight these. Oops. Highlight these so you can, for better reference. So your large, medium, and small uh, map boards. Then you also got your magic support field, which I'll explain in a moment. Your media reference board. I'll be showing you how to use that in another video. You got your table assembly alignment cue piece, again for another video, as well as your table magic support base. Actually, I'll be able to give you a quick overview of that in a minute, but I'll point that out in a second. So in addition, you have a number of items for being able to create seating. So you've got a player chair and a throne chair. The throne chair is mostly for your DM. Now, as I'm currently sitting in the Winters Industries store, um, I'm not gonna mess with the Dark Thorns setup in here. But I just wanted to point out that you do have some chair choices as well. You can use any type of chair that you want when assembling your table, but I just included these because they're more for like setting the mood more or less. Okay, just give me a second. I have to blow my nose. Okay. That's out of the way. All right, so let's assemble the table. Now, earlier, to make it easier to kind of just show you guys what needs to happen, I kind of set a cube here that will allow me to have it set up so that it's perfectly aligned with the chairs that are around. So don't do that, just follow what I'm doing though, okay? So typically, what will your uh, first step to doing this is to res a tabletop map board or tabletop that matches the size of the map that you want to build. We created three map sizes, as I said, small, medium, large, to basically give you like a rough, like kind of one size fits all choice for being able to design your map sizes. Each one, and actually, you know what? I might as well just show you what they look like now. So I'll res the medium one first, if it will res. Come on. Oh, there we go. Oh, wait, I am for some reason wearing it. I do not know why. Okay, there we go. Now it's res. Sorry about that, folks. So, and actually, you know what? I'm gonna res the alignment grid as well, but I'll show you how to do that properly, okay? So, once you've had your you know what, let's assemble the table first, then we'll get to some of the details later, okay? So we're gonna start with the small map, okay? So first, what you're gonna want to do is res the table, okay, and position a chair out. You know what? Actually, I can move this back and do this properly, so it actually makes more sense to you guys. So res a chair, okay, like so, okay. Have your avatar sit in it. Position the table or the chair for whichever way that you want, okay. And then, actually, you know what? I'm gonna put my outfit back on. Just hang on for a second. The reason why I'm doing this is it'll show my avatar's legs and give you a better reference for positioning sake. So add that. There we go. Okay, perfect. So I have legs again. Okay. So once you have your tabletop set on on the ground, position it so that your chair is roughly in the middle of the DM alcove. Okay. And then just literally position it until you're comfortable with where it is. Okay. And then what you can do is you can go ahead and then just basically position your chairs for like your players if you're setting up for a game wherever you want them to be. Okay. Now we have these mock character sheets on the table for the simple fact of giving you a rough idea of where each of your players should be sitting around the table. So just use those as a reference for when you're putting down your chairs, okay? So now we have our table positioned. And now, you know what? I'm actually going to just move my table back to where everything was before. So that was just showing you how to properly. Whoops, I don't know what happened there. Okay. Yeah, like I said, that was just to show you how to properly position your table once you res it out. Okay. So now what we're going to do is we are going to put down the alignment grid, and to do that, it's very simple. Okay. All you have to do, if you're, and this is important, or this is where Firestorm becomes really important because this is one of the improvements that that viewer has over the standard Second Life viewer. Okay. So one of the improvements Firestorm made over the standard Second Life viewer is in the build menu. It allows you to copy the all of the X, Y, and Z position axis or size axis or rotation axis values all at the same time with the single click of a button. Okay, that button is this C button right here. Okay. So all you have to do is open up the build menu by using the Control B. I know I've had the build menu open for the last few minutes, but I was going to tell you the link anyways. So yeah, press Control B. Whoops, and I just closed the window. So press Control B to bring it up, okay? And then, where are you? Yeah, there we go. Okay. See this right here? This is what will allow you to edit an object, okay? Once you have that clicked, left click on the table, and if you've opened up your build menu for the very first time, to get to this tab, all you have to do, if you've opened up the tab for the first time, it will open up the general tab. Okay, this one right here. To get to the tab that will allow you to do all the modifications to a table, like to an object, go to Object. Okay, that will allow you to get access to the position, size, and rotation axis values. Okay, so once you have that open, go ahead and click on the top C button for position. Okay, there's also a C button for size and for rotation. Okay, all you have to do then is to go back into your inventory, find the alignment grid V2. Okay, res it. Then all you have to do is literally go to the middle P button and click. Boom. Aligns perfectly and you are ready to go. Okay. Now, this is what I had mentioned. I had mentioned the table assembly alignment cube earlier, and there was a reason why I mentioned it earlier and wanted to explain it now. Okay, at the center of all of the assembly components for the table, what the hell just happened? Hang on a second, folks. I think I did something weird. Oh, I see what happened. Sorry, I undid my I undid the paste of the coordinates from earlier. That's why it was up there for some reason. So, anyways, back to what I was saying. Okay, so at the center of the main components of the table, so any of the map instance packs, for example, or like the actual table, the tabletop, so like this stuff right here, the alignment grid and this, you'll see there's a small colored cube at the center. Okay, the reason for this is it makes it so that you can res a map really quickly and be able to align it properly with your table and be able to use it right away. Okay, it doesn't take long to assemble a table at all. To demonstrate that, I will show you how that works right now. Okay, so as you can see, we got it right here, right at the dead center of the map. Okay, I'm actually gonna have to change the table size because I'm gonna need a medium table for what I'm about to show you. I'm actually gonna be showing you the port instance map that I made, just to demonstrate what I mean by the resing and then aligning properly. Okay, so you got your tabletop lined up. Okay, so I'm gonna go into my instance map, go into here. Why didn't that show up? Oh, I guess I don't have them placed in there yet. Okay. Well, thankfully enough, I do have a separate folder already created, or like an original folder that I made beforehand. So I'll go into my map packs, random encounters, and where are we? Port maps. Here we go. All right. So port map one. Boom. Boom. I'm literally just going to res everything, and I will show you how quick it is to res and then just align. Okay. So all right. Resed everything. Now, because I already have the centering coordinates for the tabletop already copied, but I'm going to do it anyways just to make sure. Okay, so selected the tabletop, click the C button. Now watch how quickly this goes, okay? Boom, boom, there, there. I think this is the last piece. Let's see. Oh, no, still got one more. There. The map is resed and aligned just like that. Did not take me very long at all. So that just goes to show you, like, it takes a little, like when you're building your map, it takes a little bit of setup or a little bit of extra work to be able to set it up so that it's able to be switched out really quickly. But once you set it up, it makes it so easy to do. Okay, so make sure you just remember that for the future because, like, look at how detailed this map is and how quickly I was able to assemble it. Right. Um, yeah, that's my spiel for the table assembly alignment cubes. Okay, I'm just going to delete this stuff to get it out of the way so I can show you just how large the large map is. Okay, so just give me a moment while I get rid of this stuff. Okay, so I'm also going to get rid of this is the medium table that I just got rid of. Okay, so what I'm going to bring up now is the large table. Okay. As I said earlier, I was going to show you guys just how big these table maps are. I don't have an exact amount of cube, or sorry, tile spacing on here, but I can guarantee you there's a lot. Okay, so you have tons and tons of space to be able to build your maps. Now, that being said, for some maps, like say for example, I'm going to be building the Neverwinter City of Neverwinter map. I'm going to have to subdivide it into 4 different sections because that map is huge. So as I said, I'm using that as an example. Sometimes you have to get creative when you're creating your maps. Okay, so but aside from that, there's a couple of small things I want to show you before I end this video. First off is your fog of war. It's a very simple system, but it works very well. It has an alignment cube in it, or sorry, table alignment cube in it. Okay, and as you can see, it's a bunch of small 3 by 3 for a total land or map space coverage of 9 tiles. They're just very simple prims, but they're able to be modified fully by you. So you can basically resize them into any shape that you want. As an example, I will res another map from the Lost Mines of, or actually one of the maps from the Lost Mines of Phandelver, the Red Brand Hideout map. So as an example, where are we? Where are we going to use map alignment grid? I think. Yeah, you know what? Yeah, screw it. I'll just put that in there for now. This is technically for a medium-sized map. I have to actually modify this a little bit for later, but I won't get into that right now. I'm not going to worry about... Oh, walls. That's what I was looking for. Okay, so I'll just lay it on the walls. I'm not going to res the entire map because it's not needed for this explanation. Okay, so Fog of War. As you can see for this map, from the blue outlines, all these things are for, they're been sized for different parts of the map, okay? So as an example, I'm going to pull this one up, right? So this is one of the rooms. You got the main entry room here, okay? Then you got, let's see, another room there. Oh, hey, look, a couple coffins. This is going to be, or this is actually the prisoner section of the map. Put that in there. Put that in there. Yeah, screw it. You know what? I'm just going to put the furniture in anyways, because it'll help to make things a little bit make more sense. Okay? So, yeah, like I said, this is just an example that the Fog of War pieces can be easily reshaped to be able to fit any number of sizes for rooms, okay? To be able to allow you to be able, so as an example, it will allow you to be able to set it up so that as players make their way through through your map, you're able to just literally delete it, and then let's say, for example, they go down this way towards the water, right? And then let's say they don't go into this room, right? But they want to go down this hallway, or see if there's a hallway here, right? But there's not. But oh yeah. Okay, so let's say they find the secret door. Boom. Now they still have no idea what's in here, but they know that there's more down this way, right? So, oh hey, look, there's a start of a cave. And then there's more of the cave as they make their way in. Boom. Boom. And then, as another example, if you want to only show a certain amount of distance that they can see, you can also change. Oops, hang on a second. I have an option select that I didn't need. You can also resize the Fog of War using the building menu to only show a certain amount of whatever section that Fog of War covers. So it makes it a little bit more dynamic that way, okay? Pardon me. All right. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to delete that stuff. So that's Fog of War. Now there's a couple of other items for table assembly, and this has to do with the design aesthetic. So as you can see underneath, there's no table legs supporting the table. This is by design. The reason why I chose this design is I wanted to make it so that this thing could be resed on any number of surfaces, And you know, like say for example, if you have a kitchen table at home that's able to, you know, that you want to put this on top of, you can just res it right on top, and you can go to town right there. Or if you don't even want anything underneath, you can just leave it blank, you know. But if you do want something in there to support it, I have something that has been made specifically for this, and it's the magic support field. So to set that up, all you got to do is res the magic support field and also the magic support base. And then all you have to do is align them with the table, and then using the positioning uh, 3D overlay, this right here, you can just lower it right down with, and you have to make sure you have the building menu open, by the way. You lower it right down to the floor until you're comfortable with how high it is, okay? And then take this, lower it down so that this disc right here is aligned with the top of it, okay? The reason for which is you'll notice I put in a bunch of these crystals here to make it look like they're magically creating like an orb in support field, okay? So that's all you got to do for that, okay? And then boom, see, you got a magic support base underneath that makes it look like it's supporting the table, okay? Again, it's just for decoration's sake. You don't need to use it if you don't want to, but hey, you know what? If it's there, yeah, you might as well use it, right? Um, but yeah, that's basically it for tabletop assembly. Our next video is going to be for actually building a map, and the first step is going to be setting up your media board. And until then, I'm Corrence, and I'll see you next time.